Hello, everyone. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Yeah, I'm coming on here a little later than usual because there was so much going on today, and looks like somebody came and put some fire extinguishers on out there. And the reason I waited is because what I wanted to talk about, you know, like I said, it was so much other stuff going on, and that's basically what everybody wanted to talk about. But, when DMX died, I won't say that I was triggered, but I was reminded of something that was very painful, but it didn't trigger me. But if you look at the avatar, hi, Stephanie, how are you doing this morning? If you look at the avatar, the light skinned guy on your, I think it's on your right, that's my brother. And let me tell you a little bit about Donnie, because Donnie was special to all of us. Um, he had a black belt in karate. He was ranked in the Golden Gloves. He worked in the medical field. And, when he got to the hospital, he was so smart that they had him doing teaching in the hospital. And I remember when he tried to get into UCLA, he was trying to apply and get in, and they gave him such a hard time, such a very hard time. And I remember him saying to me, oh, he said, yeah, if I had a basketball in my hand, they'd let me into UCLA real quick. And I graduated from UCLA, but it wasn't a pleasant experience. And all you need to do is read Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's book, and he'll confirm that. But he got in, then he went on in life to do his thing, and we were all very proud of him for all of his accomplishments. He had so many different trophies, and he taught all of the nieces and nephews how to box, and my son still has the gloves that he got him, to learn in the boxing gloves. But he went on, and then he got involved with drugs. And he said that the main reason, Stephanie, that he got involved with drugs was working at that hospital. I never understood the connection until later on. But he got into drugs, and we always hung in there with him. I convinced him twice to go to rehab. He didn't want to be addicted, but he was. And he told me, if I get money in my hand, he said, it's an automatic trigger in my brain. Get some drugs, cocaine, crack, whatever, And so the reason I was reminded when DMX died, not just because of the drugs, but because he was, Donnie stabbed himself in the chest because he was tired. He was frustrated. He couldn't seem to kick it. He tried over and over again, and he stabbed himself in the chest, and he died on the operating table. And my father called me and he said, Donnie died. And I'm like, what do you mean he died? Was he sick? What happened? And he said he killed himself. And my mind just went back to all the things that he had been through. His wife stuck with him to the end. They had two beautiful sons. They were, I think, 11 and 13 when he did this. And she stuck with him. And it was just really hard for us. And it was the drugs. And I look back and I can see other people, a really, good friend of our family, Sharon. She was a teacher. And somebody convinced her to take a hit. And she took a hit and it was a downward spiral. And she died in her 30s from overdosing on pills and alcohol because she had gotten into heroin. And I guess she'd kicked it, but she needed something to take the edge off. And then methadone apparently wasn't enough. Thank you, Stephanie. But that was in 2004 when Donnie killed himself. And so when DMX died, I'm like, wow. And he was the same age. Donnie was 50. And I'm like, what is it with 50? It's kind of scary, And so it made me wonder, we march and parade, not parade, but we march and have these huge marches about them killing our young people. But there are no marches regarding the drugs. Think about it. On 9/11, okay, they found a way to stop the terrorists from getting in. But they won't stop those low-flying planes from coming in with the drugs on them. The drugs always manage to get in. And, so they're killing us on one end, but we're killing ourselves on the other end. And, even though Donnie literally killed himself, actually did that, DMX did as well. Although it wasn't on purpose, he didn't intend for that to happen, but he died nevertheless. And we are losing so many talented, smart, brilliant young people to drugs. And as a community, as a culture, why aren't we fighting that equally as hard as them shooting someone? Because shooting someone by the authorities, that's by someone else's hand who's supposed to be protecting us. So yeah, we're pissed off about that as well. But we can be pissed off about the drugs as well also. Because they can stop it. But, there's some kind of connection there. I don't have an answer. But Dick Gregory was the one who said they turn their heads when those low-flying planes come in. If that had been terrorists coming in on those low-flying planes, they would stop them. They'd find a way to stop them. And I just think that, we say, oh, we're doing all we can. Maybe we're not. We can't just fight for our, people on one front. We got to fight on all fronts. Donnie was a beautiful human being, brilliant, smart, and it's just painful to see such a loss to the world, not just to us as a family, but to us as a culture. Who are we losing? We're losing in too many different ways. And there comes a point where we have to say, okay, y'all need to stop. letting that stuff in here. Because saying, oh, be strong, it's like somebody, like I told someone, I told you all a while back, I was fortunate. I knew somebody who was really about that life, really, really. And he told me at a young age, he said, nobody's strong. And if you try it, you're going to want some more. The best bet is to not try it. And I took his advice, but others around me did not. And it's hard to watch our young men being shot for no reason, unarmed, being warehoused in prisons. And if you go to Innocence Project website, you'll see that most of the men who are exonerated, are Black men who were never guilty. And with DNA and etc., they were able to prove it, but they've lost so many years of their life. Just like my nephew, he lost, I think 18 or 23, I forget now, um, years in prison for something he did not do. An Innocent Project got him out. So we got our Black men being warehoused in prisons because it's a cottage industry, because they can, it's a business, free labor. We're losing to the police shooting our unarmed Black men for no reason, just like the other day. A woman claims she don't know the difference between a taser and a gun. I saw something on Twitter. A doctor wrote, he tweeted, he says, I'm a doctor and I never confuse my scalpel with my stethoscope. And that is really a good point. So come on now. A taser don't even have a place for you to hold to pull the trigger. She knew it was a gun. But this happens over and over again. So we got the prisons, the cops shooting our people, and the drugs killing our people. And at what point do we pull together and say, it's not acceptable for you to shoot, and kill our young men, our men, period, for no reason at all. But also, it's not acceptable for you to allow drugs to get into this country. It's not acceptable for you to imprison innocent people, innocent men and women. But when will we pull together and say, all three of those are unacceptable and we want it stopped? And it's not about politics, in my opinion. It's about, what's important to, the powers that be. And clearly, we're not important, because if this were happening to another culture, the white culture, well, it wouldn't be happening. But just imagine, just one time would be enough for them. There was an epidemic of pills in the Black community, and it was considered crime until it hit the white suburbs. And suddenly it was an epidemic crisis that needed to be addressed. And there just comes a point where we have to say enough is enough is enough, and fight on all fronts. And we can start by sending an email to our elected representatives and say, hey, stop those drugs from coming in, just like you stopped those terrorists from coming in. Just stop it. They drew a line in the sand at that point. So yeah, I wasn't triggered, but it reminded me, and it weighed heavy on my heart when DMX died. And it, weighed heavy on my heart being reminded about Donny. And to this day, I really don't have any photographs of him up in the house, because it's just painful. It really is. And he fought it for so long. Right, Stephanie. It seems like it will never stop. But as long as, we just say, you know, we're upset about one thing, we have to pull it all together because one thing can lead to another. And this is where we need to really, as a community, pull together. But just pray for the parents of those people who may be on drugs. Pray for strength for those families so that that have young people, that they can find the right words to make them not even try it. And pray for those families who have family members incarcerated who say that they are innocent. And then pray for the families of those who get murdered and shot on the streets for nothing. And then pray for those of us who've lost family members because of drugs. And Stephanie, thanks for joining me, hon. I wanted to say what you said on here. See, my grandson loves to box. He's 14. Oh, he goes 4 days a week. Okay. Yeah, keep him interested in that. You know, keep Stephanie, keep your grandson interested in that. Sports, because Donnie was like in his, how old was Donnie about? He was in his 30s when he started with the drugs, okay? So sports kept him away from it a long time because he didn't even smoke. And, but him, high BMW, him losing his life or taking his own life like that was really, really tragic because he had led a clean life. And once he got with that, it was over. And you know, not just all of us, it was like we were in total shock, total shock. And I hope that people can understand. I think there are many of us, some of us won't admit it, but many of us who have been impacted by drug use by a member of our family or someone that we're really close to. And, some people will discuss it, some won't. I'm discussing it now because of Donnie, because of DMX. And it's really tragic to lose such brilliant young people. 50 is really young, really young. Because when I turned 50, I was a year away from getting another degree. I went back to school. And 50 is a good turning point. It's a growth point. But it's also a time when people can feel like, oh, I haven't accomplished what I wanted to. And in Donnie's case, he'd been fighting the drugs for, so many years. And but if you look at him in the avatar again, he's the one on your right, and he was really good at any sport that he tried. Like I said, he also had a black belt in karate, and he taught his sons how to box too. So, but anyway, you guys, I'm not going to keep you long. I just wanted to come on and bring this information to you all and share this with you when it quieted down on the YouTube streets today. So, anyway, you guys have a beautiful day. I'm going to try and get some sleep, but like I said, I've been thinking, ever since DMX died, I've been thinking about Donnie. And of course, you always ask yourself, what could I have done different? Could I have stopped this somehow? And I don't know the answer. So anyway, you all have, like I said, have a beautiful day. And thanks for coming over. And BMW, stop being such a stranger out here on these streets, honey. We miss you. See you every now and then. Okay. Bye-bye.